that down, let's move on and talk about this, shall we? You know, Peter Jackson was recently the subject of an article in IndieWire that you can see here, talking about how he's currently working on 3 screenplays and insisting that he's not retired yet. But something that came up in it startled me. It's something that I knew in the back recesses of my mind, but I don't really think about it, and it startled me. Peter Jackson has not directed a feature theatrical film in 11 years. Now, he's done the documentary thing and whatever, but he's not done a theatrical feature film since The Hobbit. Now, granted, I think The Hobbit was a really trying experience for him. Because remember, he wasn't supposed to direct The Hobbit. It was supposed to be Guillermo del Toro, but because of all the delays, Guillermo del Toro eventually said, I can't wait any longer. I got to go do these other things I'm committed to. So he left. Studio kind of pressured Peter Jackson to step in and direct them himself. They made the really bad decision from turning it from 2 movies into 3 movies. And there's some behind the scenes stuff that really shows what a nightmare it was trying to make those movies. And listen, the Hobbit films are radically inferior to the original Lord of the Rings films. Mm-hmm. I don't think I have real problems with the 3rd film, but overall, I don't think the films are that bad. Actually, they've got some moments in them that I really love.
They're fun,
but that took a toll on Peter Jackson. Now, some might say, well, wait, didn't he do that like Mortal Engines? No, he wrote and produced it, but he didn't direct it. Actually, the article in IndieWire makes a mistake saying the director of District 9. He did not direct District 9.
How could somebody write that?
I was telling Jonathan this earlier. I can forgive it because he was the main kind of creative force behind getting it made.
Yeah, but
and he was the producer behind it. But that was Neil Blomkamp.
Yeah, but come on, Neil Blomkamp is his name is stamped and sealed with.
Yeah, and not only that. I mean, they saw what is it? Something in Joburg, the short. That's what it was called. And they saw that Joburg short, and they decided to make it into a movie.
Yep.
And that was all Neil Blomkamp, and he was going to do the Halo movie, and this was a big,
which Peter Jackson was also spearheading, trying to get him to direct the Halo movie.
Peter Jackson brought Neil Blomkamp out of South African obscurity.
But I think he was trying to get Neil Blomkamp the director's job on Halo prior to getting District 9 done.
Yeah.
And then it was like, see, like I still don't think Neil Blomkamp was the right guy to direct Halo. He had never directed a film before. But
although District 9 was dope.
District 9 is great. So that got me thinking about Peter Jackson. Because like for a while after Lord of the Rings, whenever any movie would get discussed, I think we were back at AMC still, Jonathan, doing the movie talk days. Whenever any movie was coming up, any potential movie coming up, it was clockwork. All the fans would write and say, Peter Jackson should direct it. Everything was Peter Jackson should direct it. Peter Jackson, Peter Jackson, Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's Steven Spielberg. Yeah. Once in a while, a Quentin Tarantino. A Christopher Nolan here and there, but it was mostly Peter Jackson, Peter Jackson, Peter Jackson. So here we are. He's insisting he's not retired. He's insisting he's going to direct again at some point. But it's been 11 years. So my question, as an audience member put to me the other day, is what should he direct next? Because, you know, obviously we think of him as Lord of the Rings, and he produced and wrote Mortal Engines. By the way, Mortal Engines was terrible. But he also did like other types of like Lovely Bones, which is a powerful film, and stuff like that. My thought, at the risk of sounding very fanboyish, for Peter Jackson's return to theatrical release narrative films, I think he should do a genre film. I really do. I would love to see him come back out big and swinging with like not another Lord of the Rings film, which by the way, he is writing and producing.
Yeah, the Hunt for Gollum.
The Hunt for Gollum film that Andy Serkis is going to direct. So he's totally in that world, but not necessarily a Lord of the Rings film. But I would love to see Peter Jackson come back out, dig his toes into the sand of a big genre thing again, and then produce and make and maybe direct other more prestige kind of films. But I think he should totally swing for the fences with a big non-Lord of the Rings genre kind of piece. I don't know. When you look at this, first of all, are you stunned as I was when I realized, holy crap, it's been 11 years since he's done something? But what do you think would be his best approach to come back into directing?
You know what? I have an answer.
Oh.
I read a script. So William Faulkner, the famous writer, William Faulkner wrote, I believe it won a Pulitzer Prize, a story called A Fable. and it's set in World War One. And Peter Jackson is a World War One fanatic. He's got his own World
Sorry,
War.
you might be able to hear. We got some construction going on right outside of our window here.
He has his own World War One Air Force. World War One planes. And a Fable, it is kind of a genre movie. It's kind of a genre movie, but it's based on William Faulkner's Pulitzer Prize winning play. And this guy, John Levin, who he used to be a big muckety-muck at CAA, represents this script, a Fable. And it's an amazing script. And it's funny because I was talking with a friend of mine about this, and we were talking like, would Ridley Scott direct something like this? And I'm like, who should direct this script? Peter effing Jackson. and all of a sudden this thing comes out, and a buddy of mine knows Andy Serkis, and I was like, you should, tell Andy Serkis to tell Peter Jackson to do this movie, because it's a prestige project, but it's got a fantasy bent to it,
right?
Even though it's set during World War II, and it's based on a Pulitzer Prize winning work by one of the great American writers, William Faulkner. And I don't know if he'll ever do that. I don't even know if audiences would want to see it. But the script is great, and he would be great for it. And he loves World War I, and he's got his own World War I Air Force that you can put in the movie. So
it all works. The pieces are all coming together.
There's trench warfare. There's all kinds of stuff, and you could make it the whole thing in New Zealand.
All right. Well, as we've been talking, our audience has, because you know me, I'm thinking of genre piece. Our audience has thrown in a couple of suggestions.
Yep.
Let me run them by you, see what you think of it. Peter Jackson, like Sean Levy, directing a Star Wars film. What would you think of that?
I mean, look, obviously that would be cool, but the thing about Peter Jackson is I would want him to be as passionate, like he was passionate about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And he wanted to do it for a very long time, and he basically took his entire home country of New Zealand and turned it into his backyard studio. If he had a story that he wanted to tell, that he wrote, him and Fran and Philippa came up with some great idea to make a Star Wars movie, I'd say yes. But I wouldn't want him to be a director for hire on a Star Wars movie.
Okay. How about this? Remember, I said genre. So one of the audience members suggested a Dungeons and Dragons movie. Now, I think Peter Jackson, it's a little close to home with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But Peter Jackson doing a Dungeons and Dragons movie would be insane. I just don't think they're going to make another Dungeons and Dragons movie. But I would be personally, I would be totally down for Peter Jackson doing D&D. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, why not? But again, I would want him, like, Dungeons and Dragons is basically based on Tolkien's work.
Totally based on Tolkien's
I mean,
work.
so I think it would just be, in a way, kind of one step removed. I mean, in a way, The Hunt for Gollum is a Dungeons and Dragons movie, and they're going to put a lot of original material into that story. So I don't know. I mean, I would like to see him.
Well, wait, before you go on, let me get through the other
Okay.
names here and get your catch on. Okay, somebody directing, because there's a lot of doubt out there. I still doubt that Andy Muschietti's actually going to direct the Batman Brave and the Bold.
Right.
What about James Gunn giving his buddy Peter Jackson all saying, what do you think about directing a Batman film?
Okay. I would love to see Peter Jackson.
I would love to see him direct a Batman film.
Because if you think about Peter Jackson, people forget because, he's just the Lord of the Rings guy. But Heavenly Creatures, one of Kate Winslet's breakup,
yeah.
That film is incredible.
Yes,
it has
it is.
incredible fantasy sequences. His X-rated puppet movie, Meet the Feebles, is out of control. If you haven't seen it, it's hard to see that movie. But if you haven't seen it, you're like, oh my God. And then if you look at his movies, Brain Dead, and then also
Bad Taste.
Bad Taste, his first feature. I mean, I'd like to see that sense of humor, his body, nasty, gross. I mean, there's that other side to Peter Jackson. Maybe as he's gotten older, he's too mellow to do that now. But I'd like to see him go for something gonzo and over the top.
All right, there's two more. This one I was not expecting, but I have to admit it raises my eyebrows. What about Peter Jackson? Remember, staying in the world of genre. Peter Jackson directing a Transformers film. That, like, it kind of made my brain hit a speed bump when I first read that. But the more I think about it, you take the lore of Transformers and you put it in the hands of a Peter Jackson, that could be really interesting as well. I don't know. How would that rank for you?
Again, if he was passionate about it, yes. But to me, that would smack too much of the studio hiring him to make a Transformers movie. Look, if Peter Jackson said, I've got an idea for a Transformers movie, if I had it for 25 years, I want to do it, I'd say, great, I want to see that.
Right.
But I don't want to see Peter Jackson as a director for hire on someone else's IP.
But what if he had an idea that he was excited?
Well, then,
Like,
yeah,
just
no, that's
assume
what I
that
said.
Like, I don't think Peter Jackson would go, well, I don't really want to do that movie, but okay, I'll do it. Like, obviously, let's assume whatever movie he does is something he'd be really excited about doing.
Yeah, yes. I mean, if you wanted to do that, sure. I think Peter Jackson would be good to do anything. But I think that I would much rather see another Heavenly Creatures type of a film that I've never seen before. You know, why would you want somebody with Peter Jackson's talent to just be wasted on working on another IP?
To elevate it.
Well, that's true.
To elevate it.
See, the thing about Batman needs a new vision, and if you got it would be great. I mean, I guess I mean, hell, man, I'd love to see Peter Jackson make a Star Trek movie.
Well, that is the next one on the list. Somebody else wrote in Peter Jackson directing a Star Trek
How about
movie.
a Star Trek trilogy?
Or, okay, well, let's start with one.
3 movies.
What would you think about
Start with
Peter
one. 3
Jackson
movies.
doing a
I'm in.
Star Trek film?
I'm in. Count me in. And if Fran and Philip and him write it, yes. Star Trek movie. 100%. Count me in.
There were a couple of others. There was one somebody put in that really caught my attention that I loved, and then I forgot what it was. And now I can't find whatever it was. But there was one that was really exciting to me, and now it's gone. But anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? First of all, did you realize it's been 11 years since Peter Jackson's directed a narrative theatrically released film? It's been a while. What do you think he should do? Now, maybe you think he should come out and do like one of the smaller kind of films that he used to kind of do. Or do you think like me that I think he should come out and swing for the fences with like a big genre thing? If so, what one would you like to see him do? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.